I keep thinking about this situation with Drew, and honestly, the thing that makes it interesting is not just revenge, it is the slow cruelty of it all. The kind of cruelty that hides behind quiet hospital rooms, plastic medicine bottles, and people who smile too politely. That is where this idea really starts for me. Not with shouting, not with dramatic music like television likes to do. No, it begins in silence. And in that silence lies the real danger. So Drew Kane has been lying in that hospital bed for what feels like forever. Doctors call it a condition where the mind is awake but the body refuses to respond. A horrible prison. Imagine hearing everything but not being able to blink, not being able to say stop, not even able to twitch a finger. I personally think that is one of the most terrifying states a human being could experience. Worse than sleep, worse than unconsciousness. Because you are there, trapped, and the hospital staff. They believe they are helping him. They bring charts. They bring injections. They whisper about neurological recovery rates like it is a math equation. Clinical, detached. They trust the labels on the medicine bottles. They trust the routine. But one person in that hospital room does not trust routine. Willow. Willow Tate has been coming into Drew's room more often than anyone else notices. Sometimes during the day, sometimes late at night when the corridor lights are dim and the nurses are busy somewhere else. On the surface, she looks concerned. Soft voice, gentle hands. Someone might even say devoted. But that is the trick with people who are hiding something. They perform kindness like actors. The truth is that Willow has already changed everything. It started quietly a few nights earlier. She stood at the medicine cabinet and stared at the rows of bottles, labels neat and clean, names of drugs that are meant to stimulate neural response and wake Drew up slowly. That was the plan the doctors made. Willow did not like that plan. She took a syringe, drew the real medication out of one bottle, clear liquid sliding up into the needle. She disposed of it. Then she filled the bottle again with something else. A sedative, heavy, the kind that presses the brain downward into a thick fog. She repeated that process again and again until every bottle meant for Drew was no longer what it claimed to be. The labels still said recovery medication, the charts still matched the bottles, no one questioned anything. Every injection pushed Drew further into a deeper locked silence. Now here's the part that fascinates me. Drew was aware, at least partly, maybe not at first, maybe his mind floated in and out, but over time the fog began to thin a little and he could hear voices. He heard Willow sometimes. Not every word, but enough. That alone already makes the situation cruel. Because imagine lying there unable to move and hearing the person harming you talk about your condition as if you are already gone, like a piece of furniture. But the story changes because someone else noticed something strange. I like the idea that this person did not jump to conclusions immediately. They simply felt that something was wrong. Drew's body readings did not match the medication schedule. Small inconsistencies, tiny things that doctors might overlook because they trust their own system too much. Maybe it was a nurse, maybe someone close to Drew, someone observant. For the sake of the story, I lean toward Jason Morgan because Jason is exactly the type of person who does not blindly trust what he is told. He watches quietly. He notices details. Jason visits Drew late one evening. The room is dim. Machines humming softly. Drew lies perfectly still, eyes open but empty looking. Jason picks up one of the medicine bottles. Something about it bothers him. He does not say anything, not yet. Later he checks another bottle, then another. Finally he draws a tiny sample into his syringe and examines the liquid more carefully. The color is slightly different, not by much, but enough. He knows. Not everything yet, but enough to understand that Drew is not receiving what the label claims. Now here's the decision that shapes the rest of the story. Jason could expose Willow immediately, call the doctors, start an investigation, but he does not. Why? Because he wants to see who is doing this, and more importantly, he wants that person to make a mistake. So instead of confronting anyone, Jason begins replacing the liquid inside the bottles. But he does it cleverly. He does not put the original medication back. That would risk alerting Willow if she checked the bottles. Instead, he injects something else, a powerful restorative compound, something designed to accelerate neurological activity. Every bottle that Willow believes contains sedative now secretly contains the opposite, and the labels remain unchanged. This is the moment where the trap is set, quietly, almost elegantly. Willow continues her routine. She enters Drew's room each day, believing she is maintaining control of the situation. She withdraws liquid from the bottle, injects it into the IV line, watches Drew's unmoving face. Except now the medication is waking him up. Slowly. Gradually. The brain responds first. Drew begins to think more clearly. He cannot move yet, but awareness returns in fragments. He hears the footsteps in the hallway, the rustle of hospital curtains, and Willow's voice. One night she stands near the bed and sighs softly. She says something that Drew hears perfectly. She whispers that he will never wake up. Those words, I imagine them echoing in Drew's mind for hours afterward. That is when anger starts forming. I think revenge stories become believable only when the victim has time to think, time to feel the injustice growing inside them. Drew has plenty of time. Days pass. His fingers begin responding faintly. A twitch no one notices. Then his arm, then his neck muscles. He practices small movements whenever the room is empty. Slow, careful progress. Like someone relearning how to exist. Meanwhile, Willow notices improvement in Drew's brain scans, but assumes it is just random fluctuation. She does not realize she herself is injecting the medicine that is healing him. There is something darkly ironic about that. She becomes the instrument of his recovery without knowing it. Eventually, Drew is strong enough to move more deliberately, but he does not reveal it. Instead, he prepares. One afternoon, he manages to slide his hand under the pillow. His fingers close around a small syringe he stole earlier when a medical cart was left unattended. The syringe contains sedative, the same kind Willow intended for him. When Willow returns, that night the room is quiet. The lights are dim. Drew lies exactly as before. Willow approaches the IV line. She draws another dose from the bottle, injects it calmly. She turns to leave, and then it happens. The mattress shifts slightly. Willow freezes. Slowly she turns back toward the bed. Drew is sitting up. The moment would be terrifying in real life. Imagine believing someone is completely helpless, and suddenly they move. Willow's face goes pale. She whispers his name like it is impossible. Drew does not answer. He reaches under the pillow. By the time Willow understands what is happening, the needle is already pressing into her arm. She screams. The sound is sharp and desperate, but the drug works quickly. Her legs buckle. Her voice fades into a weak cry. Within seconds, she collapses onto the floor. Drew watches her without emotion. And here I want to pause because this is where the moral tension appears. Revenge always sounds satisfying until the moment arrives. Then things become complicated. Drew drags Willow onto the bed. It takes effort because his muscles are still weak. The scene is messy and awkward. Not cinematic at all. More like a man stumbling through anger. He connects her to the monitoring equipment. Now the positions are reversed. Willow lies motionless. Eyes open. Conscious. But unable to move. Exactly like Drew had been. Drew sits beside the bed breathing heavily. I imagine his thoughts are chaotic at this moment. Part of him wants justice. Another part is probably shocked that he actually did it. Personally, I think revenge in stories works best when it feels uncomfortable, not triumphant. Drew tells Willow that she will experience what she forced on him. No dramatic speech, just quiet words. And somewhere in the hallway, footsteps approach. The door opens. Jason stands there. He looks at the scene without surprise. Drew asks him if he is going to stop this. Jason does not answer immediately. That silence, that hesitation, it changes everything. Because now the story is no longer just about Willow's cruelty. It becomes a question about how far Drew is willing to go. And honestly, my own opinion here is complicated. Part of me understands Drew's rage completely. Being trapped inside your own body while someone deliberately keeps you there is a monstrous act. If someone did that to me, I cannot promise I would react with forgiveness. But another part of me thinks revenge like this poisons the person seeking it. Drew escaped one prison. He might be building another. And that is why this storyline works so well. Not because of the shock moment when he stabs Willow with the syringe. That moment is dramatic, but the real power comes afterward. The quiet aftermath. Two people in a hospital room. One lying helpless. One standing over them wondering what kind of person they have become. It is messy. It is morally uncomfortable, which honestly makes it feel more human.